Indices on Wall Street notch fresh highs as investors look past the US government shutdown entering its second week. Asian markets also track US market cues to trade higher. The GIFT Nifty indicates a positive start for our own markets. Crude prices edge higher to a one-week high amidst the lack of progress on the Ukraine peace deal and rising US oil consumption. Gold prices, meanwhile, extend its record rally but then see profit booking from higher levels in early Asia trading. US President Donald Trump says Israel and Hamas have agreed to terms for the release of all hostages by the Palestinian militant group in Gaza, ensuring a major breakthrough to end their two-year war. Israeli Prime Minister says he would convene his government today to approve the agreement, while Hamas says that the deal includes an Israeli withdrawal from the enclave and a hostage prisoner exchange. India's largest IT services company, TCS, kicks off the September quarter results starting today. The company is expected to report a modest revenue growth, while profitability might take a hit from the previous quarter. And UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is all set to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi today to mark the deepening of the commercial ties between the two countries. Starmer's office has said that he would use the trip to discuss a recently sealed trade deal and a technology security initiative launched in 2024. It's the penultimate trading day of the week. It is also the start of the earnings season. We will bring you all of it through the day. But you're watching Power Breakfast right now on CNBC TV 18 in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Hormuz Fatakia. Let's first take a look at how the Asian markets have started off in today's trading session. But the Hang Seng continues to underperform. But the Taiwanese index is now seeing some buying coming in from lower levels. Remember, the Chinese markets will resume trading after the 7-day holiday today. So that is something that needs to be kept an eye out for. The Japanese markets, though, the outperformance continues there. The Nikkei is up another 1.5% in today's session. That means that the index is now up for the 7th day in a row for the Nikkei after the change in the political establishment there in Japan. So most of the Asian indices, barring the Hang Seng, are trading with a positive bias. Pull up the GIFT Nifty as well. That will give you an idea of how our own markets are likely to start off. And currently, the implied open is suggesting a positive start. It was currently flat in the earlier ticks, but it has now picked up the pace, and we are expecting some positive start to our markets as well. But you know, yesterday's session, if you take a mirror, if you take Tuesday's trading session, put it in a Xerox machine and take it out, you would see Wednesday's trading session. It was exactly the same. You opened higher, the intraday recoveries were sold into and the dips were bought into. Now the bulls will not like two things though. The bulls will not like the fact that the streak of the higher highs and higher lows that the Nifty was making, that was broken yesterday. We made a lower high and a lower low. The other bit is that both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank ended at or near the lowest point of the day. That is something that the bulls will not like. All sectoral indices were in the red, but the only one that stood out was the Nifty IT index. The IT index was the only sectoral gainer yesterday. Every single constituent of the index gained ahead of TCS reporting results today. Even TCS was up 2% in yesterday's trading session, continuing its rebound from the 52-week low. Yet another day, the advanced decline was adverse in favor of the declines. Keep an eye out for that. So now the Nifty somehow managed to defend the 25,000 mark on the downside. So that becomes the first important level to watch out for. And the 24,950, 25,000 zone will be an important support level to watch for the index. Now analysts also fear a drop if 24,950 breaks on the downside. Analysts expect a fall towards 24,850 levels. Now for the Nifty Bank too, just as the Nifty managed to hold 25,000, the Nifty Bank closed above the mark of 56,000. So that's one important aspect. The index is down 500 points from the recent high that it made, which was 56,502. But that 56,000 to 56,000 or 55,800 zone might act as some support from the downside if there is any on the banking index. Today, not just that, we also have the weekly expiry of the BSE contracts. TCS, Tata Elxsi, GM Breweries report results today. Two more IPOs open for subscription. The LG Electronics IPO closes for subscription. It's the final day today. So IPO primary market activity continues to remain abuzz. For now, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start to our own markets. It will be interesting to see if that positivity sustains. Over to Ria now, who will list out the stocks that you need to keep an eye out for today. Ria, good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. Let's start off with IRB InvIT Fund today on the back of its QIP launch. Sources say that the QIP size is likely to be 3,000 crores with an upside option of 250 crores. The indicative offer price is at rupees 60 per unit, which is a discount of around 2.8% to yesterday's closing price. Moving on to the Q2 updates, though, for Concor, the total throughput has gone up by around 10.5% on a year-on-year basis. For Senco Gold, in the first half of this fiscal, SSG growth stands at around 7.5%. And in Q2 of FY26, the total revenue has been seen going up by around 6.5% compared to Q2 of last year. For Prestige Estates, the collections have seen an increase of around 55% on a year-on-year basis, coming in at roughly 4,212 crores. And for Info Edge, for their Q2 update, the standalone billings are now at rupees 729 crores versus 650 crores in Q2 of last year. Moving on to some stocks, to some companies that have announced certain investments. First up is Escorts Kubota. They are going to invest up to rupees 2,000 crores for R&D in the agri and construction space by 2031 in Haryana. Lupin has announced an investment in a new pharma plant in Florida in the US, and the total investment for them will be $250 million over the next 5 years. And Eicher Motors will also be in focus. VE Commercial Vehicles, which is a subsidiary of the company, has announced its plans to manufacture Volvo Group's industry-leading automated manual transmissions for India and also for select Asia Oceania markets, and this the total investment for them will be roughly 544 crores. Two stocks will also be in focus on the back of order wins. GR Infra has received an LOA from Jharkhand Highway Authority for a construction project worth roughly 290 crores. Garuda Construction has received orders worth roughly 144 crores for civil works of a development project in Mumbai. And lastly, EPL will also be in focus since the MD of the company, Anand Kripalu, has announced his retirement with effect from the 31st of December of this year.
Riya, thank you for that update. Lastly, Sudarshan joins in with cues from the F&O space. Sudarshan, good morning.
Good morning, Hamas. So after yesterday's session, one question comes to mind, that is this a pause ahead of big gains or is this a pause ahead of big falls? So everything will depend on the earnings season, and Sri Ganesh of that happens with today's earnings that TCS announces today in the evening. And as far as yesterday's whole session was concerned, good part was both Nifty and Nifty Bank managed to hold the important levels. Nifty 25,000, Nifty Bank 56,000, and support came from the IT index ahead of the earnings season. For today also, like the previous 3 days, GIFT Nifty is indicating a start with, today it's indicating with muted gains. And on the flows front also, we have seen both FIs and DIs buying in the cash as well as derivative market, but the amount is very less. But FI's long exposure remains at multi-month lows of 7%. In the options data on the call side, 25,100 and 25,200 were the active ones. And on this put side, 25,000, 24,900 have become very active. So like yesterday only, support for Nifty remains around 25,020 and resistance remains around 25,200, 25,450. For Nifty Bank, support would be around 55,700 to 55,800 and resistance would be around 56,300 to 56,400. One stock that remains in the band is RBL Bank. One stock that was seeing fresh longs was Infosys, and one stock that was seeing fresh short was RVNL.
Sudarshan, thank you for that update. And as Sudarshan said, Sri Ganesh, we'll do that with TCS after market hours. Today, Rima is joining in with a quick preview of that. Rima.
Thanks so much for that. As you rightly pointed out, TCS will be the first to kick off the earnings season. In fact, Tata Elxsi too reports numbers today. Now, the expectation is of a muted quarter. The good news is at least the demand deterioration perhaps has come to an end. For the last 2 quarters, TCS reported negative revenue growth. Last quarter, it was a minus 3.3%. The quarter before that, it was minus 0.8%. At least this time, we are expecting modest growth, just about 0.2% in constant currency. Dollar revenue could be up 0.4%. Margins too could see a bit of a lift up to 24.7%, an expansion of 20 basis points quarter on quarter. 2 reasons. One, the wage hike impact will kick in only 1st September. So there will be a 1-month impact. It gets spread out over 2 quarters. And secondly, the INR tailwind. What will the street watch? Remember, TCS had recently announced that they will have to let go 12,000 people. So what does the company have to say on that? The H-1B visa cost hike. What impact on on-site costs? Any implications from the JLR cyber attack incident the pace of generative AI, if pilots are becoming projects now, or is there any AI-related deflation which is hurting pricing, the second phase of the BSNL deal, and if finally that we're seeing some green shoots of a pickup in discretionary spend. The stock year to date has been a big of an, has been an underperformer like the entire IT pack, down 25%. But just over the last couple of days, it has seen a recovery from 52-week lows. The stock is now trading at about 19-20 times forward multiple.
Rima, thank you for that update. All eyes on TCS later this evening. Take a short break. On the other side, we get you all the developments from the White House in our special segment, Trump Watch. Welcome back. Lots of developments overnight from the White House. Dia joins in now for our special segment, Trump Watch.
Good morning. Starting off with a major breakthrough in West Asia peace efforts, President Donald Trump says both Israel and Hamas have agreed to terms for the release of all hostages held in Gaza, a move being described as a potential turning point in the two-year-long conflict. In a post on Truth Social, Trump announced that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable and everlasting peace. As part of the first phase of the Gaza deal, Hamas is expected to release 20 hostages alive. The group has also called on Trump to ensure that Israel fully respects the terms of the deal, urging Washington to act as a guarantor for the peace plan. While the U.S. celebrates this diplomatic breakthrough, Washington is now facing fresh questions over its commitment to global peacekeeping. According to the UN, the Trump administration has agreed to pay only about half of its $1.4 billion dues to the UN Peacekeeping Department for 2025. That's roughly $682 million, but the U.S. still owes $1.58 billion in arrears from last year's. Officials warn that the shortfall could force the UN to cut nearly a quarter of its peacekeeping troops worldwide from Africa and West Asia. Lastly, Trump on Wednesday called for the Democratic governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago to be jailed, accusing them of obstructing his nationwide deportation campaign. The comments came just a day after armed troops from Texas arrived in Illinois to assist with these ops. That's all for today. Now back to you, Hormaz.
Thank you so much for that update, Dia. On to the big global story of the day. Just after US President Donald Trump announced the peace deal between Israel and Hamas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, and I quote, "With God's help, we will bring them all home," end of quote, referring to Israeli hostages in Gaza. Shortly after, US President Donald Trump announced that Israel and Hamas had signed off on the first phase of a Gaza deal. Meanwhile, Hamas also issued a statement and said that the deal includes an Israeli withdrawal from the enclave and a hostage prisoner exchange program. But the group called on Trump and guarantor to states to ensure that Israel fully implements the ceasefire. In fact, US President Donald Trump said that he may visit West Asia later this week, just moments before the deal was announced. Listen in.
Sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually. And it seems to be going well, so we'll let you know. If that's the case, we'll be leaving probably on Sunday, maybe Saturday, maybe a little later than Saturday evening, but that seems to be our schedule.
Was Donald Trump before the deal was announced. Now in the US markets, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq closed at record highs as Wall Street recovered all of Tuesday's losses. The Dow Jones, though, came off the highs and ended flat. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq were led by shares of Nvidia after CEO Jensen Huang flagged strong artificial intelligence-driven demand for computing. The minutes of the Fed September meeting showed that most policymakers favored more easing by the central bank amidst risks from a cooling labor market. We take a short break. On the other side, we get you all the updates on an exclusive as a power battle brews within the Tata Trusts Group. Stay tuned. Welcome back onto a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Exactly a year after Noel Tata took charge as the chairman of the Tata Trusts, a fresh power battle has erupted involving key trustees. With government intervention now underway, hopes rise for a solution in this high-stakes corporate clash. Shireen Bhan filed this report. Take a look.
There is a fresh battle brewing at the House of Tatas. Now, the rift has now reached the corridors of power in New Delhi. CNBC TV 18 has accessed both sides of the story. Last night, Noel Tata, the chairman of Tata Trust, N. Chandrasekaran, the chairman of Tata Sons, met with Home Minister Amit Shah and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in New Delhi. Tata Trust trustees Venu Srinivasan and Darius Khambata were also part of that meeting. Interestingly, Khambata is being accused of being part of the quartet of trustees allegedly trying to undermine Noel Tata. Now, this latest power struggle comes nearly a decade after that bitter public battle between the late Ratan Tata and the late Cyrus Mistry. Now, sources close to Noel Tata claim that there is a coup attempt by 4 trustees. Here are the trustees: Darius Khambata, Jayatsi Jahangir, Pramit Javeri and Meli Mistry. Now, sources close to Noel Tata allege that these trustees tried to emasculate the leadership of Noel Tata and wanted to function, quote-unquote, as a super board. But sources close to the Mistry quartet deny these allegations. They claim that the coup narrative is false and there is no attempt to usurp powers. The Mistry camp claims a false narrative is being painted to make them look, quote-unquote, like villains. According to sources, there are 3 key flashpoints that have triggered the current escalation of tensions. First is the fund infusion into Tata International. Now, Noel Tata is the chairman of Tata International, and an equity infusion was proposed to help tide over the losses in the company. The company is also saddled with a debt of around 2,000 crore rupees. Eventually, the infusion of 1,000 crore rupees by Tata Sons was cleared, but sources say that the matter, quote-unquote, remains unresolved. Now, another flashpoint is Noel Tata's idea to create a position of a deputy MD at Tata Sons. Sources close to the Mistry quarter say that the proposal also created differences of opinion between the Noel Tata group and the Mistry quartet. And the third point of contention has to do with Meli Mistry's appointment to the board of Tata Sons. Now, Mistry, a long-time associate of Ratan Tata, his appointment was opposed by Noel Tata, and sources say this also led to a further worsening of the relationships within the trustees. Now, sources tell us that all 4 trustees who are today being accused of acting against Noel Tata had in fact voted in favour of Noel Tata's appointment as chairman just last year. Remember, Noel Tata took charge exactly a year ago on the 10th of October after the demise of Ratan Tata. It must also be noted that the upcoming board meeting on the 10th of October is not going to consider any of these issues at hand. That meeting, we learn, is about the philanthropic activities of the trust, which is really at the heart of what the Tata Trusts do. So 1,000 crore rupees worth of philanthropic activities on the agenda on the October 10th board meeting, nothing to do with this current battle. Now, with the government getting involved, there are hopes of a de-escalation, and both sides will try, that's the hope, and arrive at some sort of a rapprochement to bring the public feud to an end. But we will have to wait to see.
And with that, we call time on this edition of Power Breakfast. Thank you so much for watching. Bazaar Morning Call on the other side sets you up for the day's trade.